Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Evening News for today, Saturday, December the 7th, 2024. I am Gerald Bryan. Thank you for tuning in. In the headlines, major upgrade for dorm housing Hinterland students in Georgetown. Newly discovered fish species found in Guyana may be tip of the iceberg, JAGDEO. Woman brutally stabbed by husband in presence of 3-year-old son. And family of 6 homeless after fire destroys Boxton home. Now for the news in detail. The hostel that houses scores of Hinterland students who are attending schools in Georgetown is slated to undergo a major upgrade, and according to President Dr. Irfan Ali, the upgrade will also include new facilities to foster sports and artistic development. Michael Henry has our lead story tonight.
The Hinterland Scholarship Dormitory at Lilliandale, Greater Georgetown, houses a diverse population of students from various regions who have left their homes to study at schools in the capital city. On Friday evening, President Dr. Irfan Ali hosted a dinner at State House for these students before they returned to their respective communities for the upcoming holidays. During his remarks, the head of state committed to enhancing the facility to ensure comfort and well-being of the students.
Whilst we go off on the holidays, Minister Manishan and I will discuss how we will upgrade, and of course Minister Pauline, how we're going to upgrade the facilities around the hostel. So you can have a facility to support sports development. We can have the development of cricket, maybe a hard tarmac, so you can play other forms of sport, volleyball, even when we have the rainy season. And also, we know that you want an art room. So we're going to expand, put in a facility, a prefab building in there, so you can have your art room also. We want to ensure that we give you high standards and a good facility. So we're also going to do a quick, we have already completed a quick assessment as to what are the additional upgrades that are required at the hostel, and we're going to invest in those upgrades so we can make your life as easy and comfortable as possible, and we can give you the feeling of being at home.
According to the head of state, his government will continue to invest in and expand opportunities for hinterland residents.
We used to celebrate at one time 1 or 2 hinterland students in the top schools in Georgetown. Today we are seeing hundreds of hinterland and riverine students in the top schools. But more importantly, as Priya said, we don't want you to have to make a decision to leave your family to access better quality education. So we're investing in building new schools, building labs. You'll have some of the best schools in Guyana, state-of-the-art schools, schools with the greatest infrastructure and facilities built in the hinterland, some completing next year and in the next 18 months, some of the best schools. If you look at per capita investment in education, we are investing more per capita in the hinterland and riverine areas. The Ministry of Education also launched an ambitious program of having all their teachers trained and moving from trained teachers to trained graduates.
President Ali went on to urge the students to ensure that they take full advantage of the opportunities being presented to them.
We want you to use your individual platform to encourage others, to let others know that you are trailblazers, and that you are going to make the best use of the opportunity available to you, so that you can now ensure that those that are coming after you will have good examples to follow, that they will have high standards to follow, and that you will leave a legacy of sacrifice, but one of tremendous success and accomplishment.
Since 2020, the PPPC government has invested over $300 million to support high achievers from the hinterland. Michael Henry, The Evening News.
A family of 6 has been left homeless after a fire gutted their 2-story wooden and concrete home at Company Road in Boxton on the east coast of Demerara. Luana McAllister joins us with more.
The blaze occurred on Friday morning at a Lot 14 Company Road, North Buxton, East Coast Demerara residence, leaving the family of 6 grappling with significant loss. One of the occupants, Tiffany Amer, recounted the terrifying moments after realizing a fire had started in the house.
I was downstairs cooking. now starting to cook, and then my father started to call me when I run upstairs. I started to see a set of black smoke. I grabbed my nephew and we run downstairs.
Around what time is this? Around what time is that?
I can't say because my phone was upstairs and it was charging.
Meanwhile, Lyndon Hamer, Tiffany's father, who first noticed the fire on the top floor of the building, described the scene. He said despite attempts to salvage items from the top floor, they were unable to do so and could only save a few from the bottom flat.
When I look up, are you back there? I see the smoke coming through from the door, coming from the back. And by the time I run in, I call from the daughter first, then I call for the grandson. Then my daughter come up and she snatch the grandson and we run down. You couldn't save nothing upstairs because the fire done big upstairs. I just got to save a piece of thing from downstairs.
Meanwhile, the Guyana Fire Service quickly responded to the scene and managed to contain the fire to one house. An investigation into the origin of the fire is ongoing, with reports from the ground alleging that unattended children playing with matches may have been the cause. Lawanda McAllister for the Evening News.
24-year-old Chlorine Prescott Stoll of Swan Village, Suicide Linden Highway, is battling for her life after she was stabbed 15 times by her husband on Wednesday evening in the presence of their 3-year-old son. The stabbing incident, which was captured on video, took place at Kurukururu along the Suicide Linden Highway. The video showed the suspects stabbing the victim repeatedly in the presence of their child, who was screaming at the time. Persons nearby were shouting at the suspect to stop, but he continued stabbing the woman until she became motionless. Based on reports received, the suspect had contacted the woman to pick up their son at Jamun Tree, located at Kurukururu. Upon her arrival, an argument erupted between the couple, during which the suspect armed himself with a knife and dealt the victim several stabs about her body. After committing the act, the man jumped into his motorcar and fled the scene. The injured woman was rushed to the Diamond Hospital where she was treated before later being transferred to the Georgetown Public Hospital for an emergency surgery. Stoll remains in a critical condition. According to the police, the suspect, Navin Stoll, a 26-year-old truck driver, is presently in custody. The recent announcement that 15 new species of freshwater fish were found in Guyana has been welcomed by Vice President Barry JAGDEO, who noted that this may very well be the tip of the iceberg, as Guyana is one of the few places in the world where there are large tracts of virgin, unexplored forests still intact. Here are the details. The Protected Areas Commission recently presented the preliminary findings of an inventory it compiled over a 20-day period. During this presentation, Devya Hemraj, who participated in the Akare Quarantine Corridor leg of the biodiversity inventory, had revealed that 15 new freshwater fish species were found. At his Thursday press conference, Vice President Barry JAGDEO spoke of the importance of the discovery and its connection to the Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS.
It's something consistent with what we've been saying, that we're a part of the world that is teeming with biodiversity, that you have some of the highest concentration of biodiversity in the world, in our country. And it's also consistent with the move by the government of Guyana to enhance protection of biodiversity along the lines of our expanded LCDS.
According to JAGDEO, global recognition and the securing of funds for the preservation of biodiversity are among the 5 new pillars in the LCDS. As a matter of fact, JAGDEO hinted that the discovery of these new species may be the tip of the iceberg.
If you do research in these areas, you will find that new species or a large amount of biodiversity in very geographically limited areas. And we're one of the few countries in the world where we can say that we have parts of our territory that have been unexplored as yet. And we have kept them in a pristine environment or state. When you compare that to a lot of the developed world, like in the UK, I think they only have 2% of their original forests. So they've cut down 98% of their original forests, and planted. You have some new forests, but only 2% of their original forests. Most of our forests is the original forest, been there for hundreds of years, maybe going back to thousands of years.
JAGDEO also expressed hope that through the plans to overhaul the zoo, the government can raise awareness on biodiversity for persons, particularly children, around Guyana. He noted the importance of the new generation being able to recognize Guyana's biodiversity and the need to protect it.
For me, that is a huge that will be a huge teaching facility there in the botanical gardens for the children across this country to be able to firsthand come in contact with their future, because it's up to them to first of all recognize what we have and then keep it intact. And that's why we're paying great attention to that project.
Jarrell Bryan, The Evening News. Coming up on the other side of the break, Region 6 targeted 70,000 acres of rice this crop. Please stay tuned.
Sylvie's is going big with our year-end promotion. Don't miss your chance to win one of 5 incredible prizes: a food mixer, a 16-horsepower diesel engine, a Honda compactor, a 2500-watt generator, or a 2600 PSI pressure washer. The promotion kicks off on November 14th and runs until December 31st. Stay connected with us on Facebook for live updates and join us for the exciting prize drawing on January 2nd. Don't miss out. Get in on the action with Sylvie.
Guys, I think I'm in love! Wow!
Yeah, I was looking at you too.
What? What are you talking about? I'm in the tiles. Where did you get them?
Oh, Mima Decor, obviously the best tile store in Guyana. Come, let me take you there.
My kitchen, my bathroom, my floors. Mima Decor has everything. And the prices are great too.
So, yeah, want to have a date now?
We can build on that.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. As the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated continues with preparatory works for the arrival of a second power ship, consumers in sections of Greater Georgetown will experience an 8-hour interruption in electricity supply on Sunday. According to GPL, the power outage will be from 700 hours until 1500 hours to facilitate the relocation of a section of the network to accommodate the 69 kV lines that will transmit power from the vessel onto the national grid. The power ship, which is expected to arrive soon, will be stationed in the Demerara River near Rumvelt and will, in its first phase, deliver 60 megawatts of generating capacity to the grid, while in its second phase, 15 additional megawatts of power will be delivered to the grid. The areas that will be affected by Sunday's 8-hour power outage are North Rumvelt, South Rumvelt, Tugville, Guyok Park, Guyok Gardens, Lamaha Park, Lamaha Springs, Roxham Burnham Gardens, Shirley Fields, Ridley Square, and Lodge in Georgetown, and on the East Bank, Houston Estate and Industrial Site Agricola. The power ship will be the second one that the government, through GPL, has chartered to assist in offsetting generation shortfalls of the national grid. The first was deployed to Guyana in May of this year and stationed in the Berbice River. This has been supplying 36 megawatts of power to the Demerara to Berbice interconnected grid. In light of increasing transshipment challenges that local businesses face in getting goods into the country, the Guyana government could potentially co-invest in a deep water port here, given the demand for such a facility in this rapidly growing economy. Vice President Dr. Barry JAGDEO expressed his view while addressing stakeholders at the Guyana Manufacturing and Services Association, GMSA, annual awards dinner on Thursday evening in Georgetown. He was at the time speaking about the ongoing industrial dispute in Trinidad and Tobago, which has resulted in shipments of goods to Guyana being delayed. Since Guyana does not have a deep water port, vessels would have to go to countries like Trinidad and Jamaica to offload and then transship their goods to Georgetown. But according to JAGDEO, the ultimate solution would be a deep water port facility in Guyana, something which he says his government would look at in its new term. Here's what the Vice President had to say.
The solution would be the deep water port, The investment now offshore of the Demerara River can help a bit, and the dredging of the river will help because we have to dredge the Demerara River at least up to the point where we are building the gas to energy project. So clearly we have to do much more work in the Demerara River, but ultimately it will be, we have to have a deep water port in Guyana. And the reason why this has not moved forward, it's because of the scale of the investment. It's large sums of money, running into upwards of $1 billion US. And as I explained today at the press conference, to amortize $1 billion, you really need to have a solid stream of benefits to do that. And it can't be supported from the routine import-export activities of Guyana. So we need to add additional revenue streams to this. The connection with Brazil is a very vital connection because it will do just that. And then the possibility of using Guyana as a hub to transship back into the Caribbean is another revenue stream, as well as the expansion of the oil and gas industry in Guyana, particularly the gas component. So we're looking at all of these variables, and we'll have to, even in the future, if the investment can't stand on its own, that the internal rate of return will not justify it. There would have to be government co-investment to make this a feasible project, because the long-term future of Guyana demands, not just requires, but demands a deep water port. And therefore, that is one of the things that we've set our sights on. So then in future, we don't have to take our goods to Trinidad or to Jamaica to then be transshipped into Guyana. So port facilities would be vital, and you would see short-term government support, but in the long run, that has to be that has to happen.
It has been more than 1 year since residents were promised that the remaining 1 kilometer of road along the Upper East Bank Berbice, Region 6 East Berbice Quarantine Highway would be completed. However, they are still waiting for this to happen and are concerned about the state of the main access road as the rainy season approaches. Our Berbice correspondent Andrew Carmichael has more.
In December 2021, some $100 million was earmarked for the upgrade of the Upper East Bank Berbice main access road in Region 6, which had been in a deplorable state for a number of years. During a visit to the Upper East Bank Berbice area in October 2023, President Dr. Irfan Ali had expressed disappointment with the pace of the work being done by the Ministry of Public Works. At that engagement time, residents were promised that the remaining 1 kilometer of roadway would have been completed within the shortest possible time. However, after being told earlier this year that the inclement weather was preventing the contractor from commencing work, residents related that they were subsequently told by the contractor that there was a shortage of sand, thus stalling the project again. Former chairman of the Mara Citizens Development Committee, Randolph Prass, pointed out that road improvement work was done from Jermina, which is the end of the road, to Skate Mode. The 1 kilometer from Skate Mode is still to be resurfaced into an asphaltic surface.
As the president gone, everything go on with the president. Nothing more on. To this date, the road remains the same.
How is the road issue affecting? How is it affecting the community?
Well, it affecting the community because we have a health center there. You have the pensioners have to go there, the high potential cases have to go there. They have to go to that same health center. And if you don't have a proper transportation, how would you go there? The road affect them when they go to work. School children have to go to school. You have nursery children have to go to nursery school.
According to press, the current state of the road does not have a big impact on farmers transporting their produce to the market, but this could change overnight with the impending rainy season.
As you see it now, the weather is dry, so the road looks somewhat reasonable. But as soon as the rain falls, it's a different scenario. You get big potholes, large potholes appear suddenly on the road and cause a lot of discomfort to farmers and residents in the community.
The Mara resident added that many Huskers are reluctant to go to the Upper East Bank Berbice area to make purchases from farmers because of the unfinished road.
Oxers used to come in here to buy, which eased the burden for farmers getting their produce to the market. But now, because the road was pretty bad during that last period, the Oxers ceased coming in. So now, seeing that the road is partly dry because, as I said, a dry weather road, the farmers taking the produce to the market.
The 78-year-old Pras, who has been living in the community for the past 60 years, believes that farmers can produce more, but they need encouragement. Meanwhile, a team from the Mara CDC met with regional officials last week Friday and vented their frustration. On Wednesday, 2 excavators and a bulldozer arrived in the community. Andrew Carmichael, The Evening News.
Region 6 is targeting 70,000 acres of rice in this crop, and some farmers have already sown paddy. In this Andrew Carmichael report, you will also hear that while rice is set to meet its record target, sugar production in the region has failed to reach its target. Let's have a look.
For the next rice crop, which is expected to conclude during the early part of the second quarter of 2025, Region 6 is targeting 70,000 acres for rice cultivation. This is according to Region 6 Chairman David Armagon. Addressing the Regional Democratic Council RDC meeting on Thursday, Armagon, who also heads the Regional Agriculture Committee, noted that 65,869 acres have been plowed and 30,000 acres have been sown.
And we are hoping that by the end of December, most persons who are interested in rice production would have already taken advantage of the weather conditions and would have sown their paddy.
There are still 30,900 acres that have already been flooded and waiting to be sown. However, there are some issues which could hinder irrigation in some of the rice-producing communities. The main irrigation from Lancaster to Hochstyle needs cleaning, Armagon said, while noting that there is an intrusion of salt water in some of the drainage canals.
And what we're doing is putting on the pump from time to time to make sure that we take out the salt water in the system, because that's a serious problem that we're facing. In fact, the calabash pump that would normally supply the east bank of Berbice cannot operate because of the salinity of the water. The water is very salty, as a result of which we can't pump the water into that area. And so that area is in some amount of trouble with regards to irrigation water, because they receive their water from the pump from Calabash Creek.
The chairman noted that tests are currently being carried out in the Kanji River to find out the level of salt in the water there. Many of the canals along the east coast Berbice are blocked and must be cleared so that farmers will be able to have water for irrigation purposes in order to sow their paddy. Along the upper Quarantine, where the 5263 and 6474 neighborhood democratic councils are, a pump is currently out of order with just two operable. This, according to Armagon, is because the operator left the pump unattended.
The pump worked for a number of hours and then the generator gave up, because he was out sporting and left the pump unattended. So we have to take disciplinary action against that operator.
However, in the Blackbush polder, There are 6 pumps currently working, Armagon reported to the RDC. Meanwhile, farmers who cultivate lands which are considered as front lands along the Corentyne coast are forced to wait until farmers who cultivate lands in the Blackbush polder would have irrigated their fields before water becomes available to them. The regional administration says 6 pumps have been working to take water from the Kanji River, which the Blackbush polder farmers and the frontline farmers use for irrigation purposes. However, some frontland farmers say that there is pilfering of fuel and the pumps are turned off at nights. The result is that weeks after pumps were turned on, irrigation water has not reached the frontlands. Meanwhile, as it relates to sugar production, 19,333 tons of sugar were produced in the region for the current crop. Rose Hall ended the crop with 7,440 tons of the projected target of 12,000 tons, while the Albion estate is expected to meet its target by the end of the month. The East Berbice Corentyne region is considered agriculture-based, with rice production being the mainstay of the economy. However, sugar and cash crop also play a huge role in the regional economy. For the evening news, Andrew Carmichael.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Sunday, December 8, 2024 at 10 hours for a period of 45 minutes and then again at 22 hours 30 for 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 9 hours 25 on Sunday, December 8, 2024, also for a period of 1.5 hours.
Rangpur Riders trashed Victoria in ExxonMobil GSL final. This and more coming up in the Sportscast after the break.
Ho, ho, ho! Get ready to build an unforgettable future with our Ho 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 deals from MacCorp. Enjoy 5% off on parts when you shop online. Snatch up the SEB motor graders and reloaders at unbeatable prices. Or get your most efficient excavator. Caterpillar 320 Next Gen. Follow us on social media for more great deals. MacCorp, let's do the work. Ho, ho, ho!
This is
Offshore Diaries.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.